Hello, everybody, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. I'm delighted to be joined by designer, graphic designer, educator, design specialist all around, Anika Aggarwal. Hi, Anika. How are you?
Hi, Flynn. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm enjoying these streams we get to do. We're doing about one a month, focusing on Adobe Express, and we keep having all these great topics that we keep having good excuses to kind of hang out, learn a little bit from you, as well as kind of cover really cool topics. So I'm really excited for today. And yeah, what do we have in store?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. We are diving into presentations today in Adobe Express, and I'm really excited because growing up, I used to love Holi, which is what we are celebrating today.
Yeah.
So, Holi is the festival of colors for those of you watching at home, and essentially has a lot of significance that we'll talk about during the stream. But we'll also talk about presentations and how it can make your life easy, and how you can make it all in Adobe Express.
Awesome. I love that. And Holly is, I think it's this Friday, isn't it? It's like the 14th
Mhm.
or something
It
like
is the
that.
14th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is very
Yeah.
exciting. So that's coming up, which is going to be great. So what before we get stuck into all the stuff that we're going to learn today, why did you like Holly so much growing up?
I think it's a fun, I have a sibling, an older sibling, so it was like a fun way to just annoy him. So I guess
Perfect.
that and just celebrating with friends and family, and then you get to eat the good stuff, all the festive food. I think
Yeah.
that's probably the two reasons.
Those are the memories. Annoying your brother,
Yeah.
eating yummy food and
Yeah.
hanging out with friends and family. That sounds hey,
Yeah.
that sounds cool to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll learn a little bit more about Holly as we go along. But I'll share your screen and yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself as always at the beginning, just for those who aren't aware.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. And thanks for having me as usual. I love being here once a month, like Flynn said. We do Adobe Express streams, but I am a brand designer and strategist. On the side, I also do some YouTube for my own personal YouTube channel. I'm doing a lot of it in 2025. I love building design solutions. So if you have a problem, you can reach out to me. I'm at anika.fyi. And here's all my contact information. You can find the stuff that I do. And even if you don't want to hire me and just want to chat creative things, I'm happy to answer. I also love collecting like obscure design things. I had like went on a trip recently and I collected like these two decks, which are like font and design decks.
Oh, cool.
And these are amazing. Yeah. So that's like one of the fun things that I like to do. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, great. And so we're going to be building in Express today. I've been spending a lot more time in Express this year. I've actually built all of my branding stuff within Express with the idea that I can kind of download, just be a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient with social media content and creating video, like basic animations and stuff. So I've been really enjoying Express, and so I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more. I always learn a couple of things from you when we're doing our stream. So this is just for me.
I'm so happy to hear that. But I'm also excited to learn more about what you're using Express for, like what kind of branding and what's the kind of download things that you do. But with that said, I also want to start with the stream. So let's look up Holy because I know Adobe Express has a lot of templates. So while we're making presentations today, I also want to showcase and highlight the numerous templates that we have built into the product. So I just looked up Holy and yeah, those were sneak peeks, so don't look at that. But we have this pop-up here at the bottom which says try text to image to generate new images. So you can write in your prompt like splashing colors on in the air with a gradient background. Maybe that's something that you can use as a prompt. And then there are numerous templates here that you can use to create a social media post, a flyer, a menu. I know with Holy, a lot of people actually host events and parties at their place to like celebrate Holi and then eat food later. So
Mm.
maybe you can use one of these templates to actually make an invite for your friends and family. I know increasingly people have been doing a lot of it. And actually, if you've been following Apple for a while, for those of you watching, Apple Invites is now a thing. So maybe you can make something in Adobe Express, which is like an image that will go over as a background image for your Apple Invite. So maybe that's something you can do.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that much. I saw a little video on it or something, but basically you can sort of send a little invite to your contacts and everything, and have this
Yeah.
kind of, it's like an inbuilt, like a little mini
Yeah.
event kind of system, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have like an invite that you can share a link to, and then people can RSVP there. So it's very built in, all iCloud, and Apple storage, and it just like makes everything seamless if you are someone who's like an organizer and has an OCD.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good for you.
I
And
can see
then you have
that type
Adobe
of friend
Express.
using them like every weekend for everything and like
Exactly.
overdoing it, but
Exactly.
it's a cool feature.
I'm not gonna say guilty as charged, but um, these are very fun. I love that there are some with like Hindi in the text too. And let's just take one of these for example because I do want to highlight. Let's take this one because this looks pretty cool. I do want to click on customize template, so I can easily do that here. And then the next thing that I actually want to showcase, because we are talking about Holi, and some of you might want to personalize it and make it some things. You know how some things are just different spoken in your native language, or just like like hits close to home. So
Right.
maybe people want to translate this to Hindi. So I can do that right within Adobe Express by clicking on translate, and then I can take this as a language Hindi, and then sorry, I clicked out of it. That was on me. Go back to translate. And then don't change the tone. I'm gonna go to page one, and maybe I want to translate everything. So I just selected one text box. I love that Adobe Express did it all for me. I go
Mm.
back and click on translate. Um, this works 99% of the time, but sometimes it may not. So fair disclaimer.
Yeah. Disclaimers there. Yeah.
But I'm glad to say that this worked. This was one of the 99% of the times, and this looks great. You can edit it. I think this can be like a regular, like a bold font too. And you can go ahead and edit it just to make it fun, more like appealing in terms of design and layout, and then change that. Like match this weight, font weight, and then
Mm.
you're good to go. But
Is that a
that
difficult
was
thing
just
to do
bonus.
to find a matching font in another language, or do you often like?
Actually,
Is that a
that's
difficult
a
thing to
great
do? Yeah.
question. So fonts.adobe.com actually has a lot of, it's gonna ask me to log in, but um oh, there we go. So some of the fonts on fonts.adobe.com do have font weights too.
Mm.
So the good thing is that Adobe Express has all of these, access to all of these. So when you're using translate in Adobe Express here, it automatically uses one of the fonts that closely matches to your tone, because I said don't change the tone. So it
Mm.
also takes that into consideration in terms of what's the kind of message you want to convey with your graphic. So it uses that and kind of tries to match it. Now, of course, this might not be the one, because I think for my usage, this might be like too blocky. I want it to be taller. So maybe I can go ahead and browse through some of the fonts here. And if you can't find any of the fonts like up here, which are already in use, this is the latest feature in Adobe Express where you can see suggestions on fonts based on language. So you don't even have to go outside Adobe Express anymore. You can just look at something here. So maybe I wanted this
That's great.
instead. And that's awesome. Yeah, but this was all bonus content. We haven't even started on presentations. So let's go ahead, go on presentations. I think there was a presentations option here, but I haven't been able to find it for a while. So if anyone in the chat knows, let us know in
Yeah.
the comments.
It's funny when things move around because it is like this
Yeah.
web-based app, so it's really easy for it to be updated and improved. But then
Yeah.
your muscle memory is going to the same spot, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to relearn. I'm gonna have to figure this out again."
Exactly. And it's such a continuously evolving tool that things change every week.
Mm.
But the good thing is that there's a search bar that I can just look things up in, and it has presentations. So it has some of my presentations that I used earlier, but I have this here as well. So maybe I can pick up a template here, and see what comes up. Actually, this is a presentation slide. So let's customize this. Let's start from this just because I want to be in a presentation project,
Mm.
and then we'll dive deeper into it. I'm going to delete all of this just because I don't want. I'm going to press Control Command A and delete all of that. And then I did end up making a library just to make my life easy. So I'm going to go browse to my library under your stuff. It's called this, which is just my naming convention. And then I have some of these colors that I want to use. So the idea behind this color palette is essentially Holi, and Holi is like a burst of colors.
Mm.
And when I think of that and think of art movements in history, I think of pop art. So I like looked up this guide, which I can maybe share later in the comments, which talks about what pop art is. We won't dive deep into it, but it's one of my favorite art movements because the colors and the graphic shapes in pop art is just something that stands out no matter what. So I'm just going to run through this pop art booklet, which is on issue.com. This is referenced from that. This is just for demonstration. And yeah, we're just going to run through some of these slides just to give you a brief example of how the design's going to look. So we have some, like, it takes inspiration from like real life short bursts of movement. And I think that's also inspiring because at Holi, you throw like water balloons filled with color and colored powder and like water. So I think
Yeah.
that kind of signifies in kind of a metaphorical way. So I love that. Then Royal Liechtenstein, and then I love the Andy Warhol Campbells. I know a lot of people are aware of that as well. And then some of these graphic designs. I love them. So we're
Yeah.
gonna do something similar.
Oh, cool.
So
Love it.
yeah, that's gonna be an inspiration. We may not do the exact same thing, but we definitely gonna. This is a bold red, so I'm gonna size that down if I can. Yeah, there we go. All right. I am gonna bump in a text here, so let's bring that here, and I'm gonna actually make a trivia night presentation. So that's gonna be cool.
Oh, nice. Is that what you are doing for Holly?
I wish I was. I would love to do something like this, but honestly, the questions that I came up with are so basic for someone who already knows about the festival
Yeah.
that I feel like these questions are like questionable.
I did we did a for Photoshop's
I
35th
know.
birthday. Did a
I saw
trivia.
that.
Oh, cool.
That was
Yeah,
so
that was,
cool.
oh, that's right. Did you pop in for a bit? I can't remember.
I
was a bit
didn't
distracted.
pop in live, but I did see the replay. I was actually looking at it earlier today too. So yeah.
I was that was fun, but that was a lot of work to put it all together actually. And I did that in Express
Yeah.
as a presentation, which was fun.
Yep. Yep.
But oh my gosh, you should have seen the setup that I had over here. I had about 5 different screens plugged in to my PC to get it all to run, which sounds ridiculous. It should have been the easiest stream in the world, but because I always
Yeah.
bring people in, I'm just set up in a particular way. And so I
Yeah.
also needed something that I could present that also everyone else could see, which isn't what I normally do.
Yep.
It became a technical like drama basically just to do trivia with no
Yep.
interaction. Like it was just verbal and visual. But anyway,
I can
was fun.
actually see that.
yeah.
I did not know that you made that in Adobe Express. So let's talk about it. How was your experience making something like that in Adobe Express?
It was great.
Like a
actually.
presentation.
I think
Yeah.
the advantage is just like I'm usually not a web-based person. I usually prefer to have an app
Yeah.
for shortcuts and things like that because you have to compete with like I use Chrome, the Chrome shortcuts and web-based
Yeah.
things. So I find that bit a little bit slower. But I love everything being in one spot, no matter what device I was on. So I could actually do bits on my PC. I use PC and Mac. I'm one of those lunatics. So it's really good having everything is identical. Doesn't matter,
Yeah.
I've got an
Yeah.
RTX graphics card here and I've got an M2 laptop Mac. Very, very different, but it's identical. So that's a huge advantage for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think just having assets that don't reference a file on your local file means that you don't really have to worry that much about file management. So I find that's really useful as well, or storage, or a file.
I actually
notation,
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes your life much easier.
Yeah.
While you're chatting about that, I actually want to use some kind of scribbles just to bring it that, I don't know, kind of like organic element, I want to say. But I can't find the ones that I actually thought I might be using. So I'm glad that I did some research and then found some of these that I might want to use. These are all from Adobe Express. So I just want to use this and change the blend mode to multiply. So I can use that and then maybe highlight it to trivia. This seems like it's low quality for some reason. I'm actually going to delete that. Let's actually go ahead and find something. I'm forgetting what the search term I used for this. Let's say scribble circle. Maybe that's it. It's close enough. It's not the exact same. It's close enough. It's so interesting to me that your brain does this thing where you look something up And then, oh, maybe it's here. It's here. It
Yeah.
scribbles.
And then you do the exact same thing and you don't type the
Yep.
exact search term and then you can't find
Yep.
the thing. It's very strange, isn't it?
It's annoying. Let's be honest. I'm gonna try to find it though. Let's not give up and find it because I know it's here. Okay, let's use this for now because I just want to get this post page out of the way. Actually, I don't like it. It's fine. It's fine. Let's not fret over a scribble. It's fine. Let's go back to my library because I do want to add a personal touch to this. And what better way to do that with your own photo ref? So I'm gonna bring this photo ref.
This is
I
great.
did a
I love this
a
photo.
photo shoot with binoculars. Well, I don't own a pair of binoculars because I'm not a birder, but I do have my hands and I did use them to make this photograph.
That's
So let's
great.
go ahead, remove a background. I love that this is so seamless and the quality of your image does not change.
Yes.
I also want to go and crop this asset. So I want to go ahead and make like a rounded rectangle because love a good rounded rectangle. Maybe place it here, press enter or your return key. And this is looking good, but maybe I want a background with this image as well. So let's hop onto elements and add a rectangle. I know we've been chatting for a while, but I just want to do a quick time check because we're still on the first slide.
I think we're probably about 15 minutes in. So maybe
Oh
halfway.
wow.
But we can go a little bit over. We have been chatting.
Yeah, we have been chatting. But it's great. I think that's what makes it so special because Holi is all about community. We talk like I think everything with Holi is about spring and how you say goodbye like to winter, which is like let's not talk about cold stuff. And then harvest, it's the season of harvest and you move forward into spring. And I think Holi is all about like celebrating agriculture as well.
Right.
So this is good. I love that we're having this conversation and talking as we work through this. Okay, that's the issue. The corner roundness wasn't matching, and I was wondering why that was what that was. All right, I'm gonna size it down to the image size here, and then group these two. That's looking cool, actually.
Nice.
I'm gonna size it a little, maybe rotate that even more. And then obviously some of the words like here are getting cut, but it doesn't matter because we obviously know that this is with.
Yeah, it's
Like,
quite
what
a cool
else is
effect to add some depth. And it's got that collage effect that, is related to pop art as well. So that's on brand with the strategy. Very good.
Yeah.
And it's also that kind of masthead thing, isn't it? Like if there's a masthead, for those that might not know, is like the front of a magazine. Magazines used to be physical media. That we used to buy physical stuff, and often you'll see like the model or the character on the front, their head might be covering almost the whole masthead because everyone kind of knows what the magazine is.
Yep.
Anyway,
That's awesome. Yeah, we get more information and stuff about design. I love that. Okay, I'm gonna replace it with things that I had in my library just to have that. Like I just want it to be good. Okay, let's move on to our second page. So when we're talking trivia night, I think the one thing that you want to think about is what are the rules? Because when we're having game night, people there is a lot of emotion involved.
Yeah.
So let's talk rules and let's set the background color to this bright yellow. I do want to take some text. And the good thing about having libraries and just having like character and font, basically the fonts that you're using is good because you already know what font you want to add to your brand. So if you're sharing this with someone, for instance, I want to collaborate with someone, I can share this file and then use anyone with link. For instance, I can share it with someone in chat, or maybe if I wanted to collaborate with Flynn, I already have this library set up here, which I also shared previously. I can just click on this button, which brings the font, and there's literally nothing else to do. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I do want to bring this here. I did actually want to make this black and white, which is how I start everything. But for the sake of time, we're just diving straight into color. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
When you're moving a little bit faster, you can just
Yep.
you're just going as you go. So it's interesting that this is, I assume it's because of the type of file you've created here. When I did mine, when I was doing a multi-page document, everything was
Yeah.
landscapes. Everything was going left to right. Yours is going
Yours,
top to bottom. So
I
can you
am
talk about that a little bit?
actually, I'm as confused as you are because I clicked on the thumbnail and it did the thing and now everything is landscape. So maybe that's like a new UI that we're
Yeah, it
testing
must be
right
new
now.
because this tray is new as well. This tray wasn't
Yep.
there. I think that popped up this week or
I
something.
think I think this has been around for this and the last week, but the
Mm.
scrolling thing that we just saw, I think that might just be a sneak peek into something that's coming up.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah.
Cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I guess I've been using it enough now that I notice those little
Yeah.
things.
I
But
love
yeah.
that. I love that. That is so good. I do actually want to point out that I'm adding a stroke to everything here just so that it gives a little contrast and just like helps everything stand out. And then I also want to talk about the three different games. So I have if you're wondering where I'm writing this copy from, I have this document open on the site, which I can't show, it's a secret. But it has details about this copy if anyone watching is wondering. I
Yeah.
shouldn't size that down. All right. The one other thing that I want to say that this is all the same font family. We're using Trade Gothic Next LT Pro. For the headings, I'm using heavy. For the title, I use the heavy condensed. Maybe I'll use the heavy condensed here too, just to have that consistency. Yeah, I like that so much better. And then I'm going to scale that up just like so. And then I want to keep just the same font family and change the weight just to have a better design, a functional design, let's say that.
Yeah. It's like a bit of hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. And then the things that we're doing with this is essentially there's going to be three types of games. So we're going to create one slide each for the question and then the answer. So I'm going to size it down perhaps to like 36 and have that the same font weight, maybe like bring this up a little. And then I can go to position. Um, I wish there was a way. Oh, there is. Yeah. You can distribute these vertically, and these were already. Wow, that's cool. I distributed these vertically, but if this was like here and then I wanted to distribute them equally, I can go select all of the three text box that I have, go to position, and then actually wanted to do horizontal, not vertical, because they're already vertically aligned. So do the horizontal, and now they're horizontally equally spaced. And if you're a creative professional, and if you've been using Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, you know that this feature exists.
Yeah.
But now this exists even in Adobe Express. So let's actually group that, and then I want to center it as well. So yeah, that's
Nice.
cool. And then now I'm going to bring in some of the elements that I used on the home, like the initial screen as well, just because I want to give emphasis to what the screen is about, because this is a presentation is supposed to be quick. And the one
Mm.
thing that I want to do is, oh, this is the how to. And so I want to emphasize that. And maybe I want to add some elements here like cartoon eyes or something similar just to have that. That's not what I wanted. Maybe I want to add this one. This actually looks
That's
cool. I do
perfect.
want to, yeah, I do want to like put it somewhere here. Maybe like rotate that. Like this looks kind of like a snarky smile. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
what's coming? So let's leave that there. And then I want to add a second page. I want to do same size. And then the next thing I want to say is, are you ready to play? Because I'm imagining that I'm putting this on a projector. So I want
Right.
everyone to be ready.
You're
So
imagining
let's,
this like in the same space together, not digitally. You guys are all hanging out.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And even if it is actually virtual, that's a great point that you bring up because I can actually present this in a screen share as well that we're going to talk about, which actually I can't see here. So that's interesting because this should have had that, had this been a presentation. Maybe I'm doing this all wrong. Let's take a time out for a second and let's look up what happened. So I'm going to do presentations and presentation. Oh, here we go. I did it all wrong. I created a project instead of presentation
Right.
project. I created a basic project. That's why that was happening. So we're not too far. We're good to go right now. So I'm just going to bring this here. And that's also probably why we were seeing the scrolling thing, which might be
Right.
new. And here are the transitions that we can add between pages. And here's the present button. So I'm glad we caught that early on. Thank you so much for mentioning that earlier as well.
Oh, that's all right. You figured it out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there were transitions either. So that's another new feature that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, there are transitions. I
Oh,
love
cool.
that. We're gonna talk about that today too. All right,
Awesome.
let's really quickly do this again, so we can jump into the good stuff. I am gonna scale this up. I'm glad that we weren't as far along as I thought we would be, so we can do this really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then second page, I'm just gonna copy that. The good thing is that you can actually copy paste between Adobe Express projects. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just copy pasting. So if this is something that happens to you watching, honestly, this is a very common thing that would happen to anyone. And I love that this happened because now we can actually show the real workflow because yeah, this is how it works.
This is how it happens
This is
in
this
real
is
life. All the
exactly,
time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was
Right.
interested. I think Command F in Illustrator is one of my favorite
Yeah.
features.
Yeah.
Like something
Paste.
that I didn't know about or didn't exist for the first decade of me using
Yeah.
the software, and then someone did it on Adobe Live, and it changed my life. So
Yep.
it's interesting because I see that and I'm like, that would be such a good feature request, I think, for
Yep.
Express, because I just love any app that allows you to paste exactly in place.
So let's
very
scale
useful.
this down and see if that works here. That actually I think is a feature here. Not I think. I know it's a feature. So
Oh.
if you're within the same project or the same presentation, you can actually paste in place. And it's just Command C and then Command V. And this pastes in place.
Oh, it just
And I
pastes
can
in place
scale
by
it
default.
down. Yep, I can scale it down just to show you how that looks because honestly, that wasn't a true representation. So let's press Command C and press Command V, and this is literally in the same place.
Right. Okay, cool. But obviously jumping to a different project, it was different dimensions, so it probably wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was a different dimension. Plus, I don't think it was a different dimension because I think I chose the right. It just might be the type of project which was different.
Yeah, it could be the
And
type.
so, yeah, so Adobe Express just like got confused a little, like, oh, what? Why are we here now?
Yeah.
What's happening? I do want to add some scribbles here as well. I'm gonna scale these up, and then this set us back a little, but it's fine. We got everything under control. All right. So we have first slide. We have how to play. Obviously, the spacing is a little bit off this time because we didn't have time to make it perfect. But we have are you ready? And now the first type of slide comes in, which is essentially answer the question. So what I'm gonna do is change the background color to a lighter color because you're gonna have text on top. I do want to add some shapes. These were all taken from Adobe Express. And if I actually wanted to do that, I'm actually gonna go to Elements and see scribbles. I think that was a shape that I saw earlier that was here, but we're gonna find that. Let's choose pop art and see what nothing comes up. I was in the wrong. Oh, here we go. All right, so this is an asset that I want to use. That's cool. And then I also want to use some. This could be an eye we could use. That's also cool. And then maybe I want to use a shape, and I'm trying to find if I can find it, but I don't know if we can. Sorry, I'm a little bit lost. I'm just thinking about my process here. Let's see. Let's go back to my stuff. Let's delete this. Let's bring this here, and then I can adjust say position and then rotate it like so, and then maybe you want to point to the text that's going to go here. So I'm going to go to my library again and bring some text over. Where's the text? All right, here's the text. So I'm going to copy some copy which is about the question. So the first question is, the festival of Holi marks the end of winter and the beginning of which season in India? And we talked about this earlier, so if you're paying attention.
Spring, right?
There we go. Yeah. I love that. Yes. All right, I'm gonna do heavy condensed for this as well, just because of I want a greater contrast, and then I'm gonna do red. I do want to change the line spacing between these as well. Maybe I want to do like one, and I want to scale this up, and then that's our first kind of question. I'm gonna bring this here. Not gonna leave this orphan here. And then just bring this, center it. So go to position, and then you center, align everything. Let's size it down just a little bit. All right, and then I do want to bring the shape, but I actually don't know where the shape is. So we're gonna still go ahead and look it up. Maybe it's in the design assets. So let's just go to elements. We can just use this one, for instance. It's an abstract shape that I just want to add like a background color to. So maybe I do this, and then since this is like my text is not gonna show up if this is the color. So what you can do is go to effects and add a duotone effect and pick the same color for shadows and highlights, so you can actually see it much clearer now. If I put it behind the text, this is much nicer and appealing to the eye, and just gives it that pop of color that it so desperately needed.
Yeah.
And then we can place it differently, and then maybe we can even add like a scribble. Maybe this one. Yeah, that looks good. And everything, if you're watching carefully, at home, everything points to my question. So I think that's one of the things you should take care of as well. And now it's time for the answer. So we're gonna copy this text here just to save some time, and then I'm gonna say spring. Now, obviously, if you're running this as a trivia, don't put up the next screen before.
You gotta be careful not to go one slide ahead.
Yeah. So take that into consideration before you do that. I do want to change the color of this as well. So maybe I want to do pink in this case, and the highlights as well, and then bring it behind the shape. And then I'm gonna bring this. I actually loved thinking about this project because it kind of like is so fun, and I always go to the similar colors in my work. And I love thinking about this in this manner because Adobe Express just like gives you that ability to just do this without thinking, and everything's so easy to customize to.
Yeah.
That I can just like do this and not be worried about what if I change my mind kind of thing.
I think you can also work in a little bit slightly. You're not forced to kind of think necessarily in that waterfall style that you often will do in lots of other apps, where you really want the foundations to be built correctly so that you save time. Like, it's an efficient way to work. We talk about it all the time on Adobe Live and using apps and things in general, but this you can kind of do what I did when I was doing mine. It was like 30 pages, but I did like a minimum viable product first. So I did it first. So I had all the titles, the questions, the answers, and it was done. But it didn't look very good, but it was done. And then I thought, okay, great, I'll come back in when I have more time and then start kind of making changes. And it was very easy to just kind of jump in, work on a couple of slides, and then, jump into a meeting, do a live stream, whatever I was doing around it. And I just kind of kept it open in a tab and kept kind of trying to find the right silly GIFs and tweaking the answers so they were a bit funnier or a little bit more challenging or easier. So it's a nice way to work.
I actually love that, because then that just makes it, and then when you sleep over the design, I think you see that it's like taking a walk when you're working, and then you come back to it and like, oh yeah, I know the answer now. I see why this was not. I see exactly what was missing in this.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I just, while we were chatting, I just brought the stamp element from Adobe Express, and then I just want to change some of these colors so I can bring them on brand. Now this is very clashing because it's just creating that kind of moire effect. I'm going to bring this to white so we can actually read it, and then put this here. Now this is the second choice, which is, if we go back to how to play, it's multiple choice. I do actually think this weight might not work because I do want to put emphasis. So we'll come back to it. Like we said, we can come back to it and change that. This is going to be like one of the things that you can do. And then you can put your options here. I won't dive deep into the details, but I'm going to make like one option here. So maybe it can be like black. And then you can copy that here and press Command D twice. So it's going to duplicate it. If it's going to go outside the canvas, it duplicates it randomly anywhere. So I want to change the colors here of the options. I'm going to say all of these, and then people can pick. And then similar to the one that we created here, which is spring, you can make a slide here which says the actual answer. In this case, it is white. So I'm going to go white and then say, oh, didn't want to do that. I always do this just by default. I'm going to go here and then maybe bring this like so. I do want to bring this element again just to bring that emphasis and then size it up. Still visible, even though it's clashing.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on the last thing that we did just because I think it's a fun design. So I want to go ahead to my how to play screen as well and go to complete the word. And I bring that here just because it's easier to copy paste right now. And just a quick time check. How far along are we, Flynn?
We're a bit over time what we normally do, but we're all right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna quickly run through this. All right. I have this dice or die here. And I love this, but you can also go ahead and find dice or die, however you say it. And then you can go to design assets and find the one that works for you. I did use a different one, but if you like rounded rectangles, you can use something like this because I think this kind of just automatic. I actually want to use this because this has numbers. I just used the one and rotated it. So I love that this is a different one. I do want to crop it out and bring one of these here. I actually want to showcase and rotate that a little bit like so. And then I'm going to bring that back and maybe I want to use a different one. So I'm going to redo the crop. And since this was all like non-destructive, I can just do that.
So easy. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Maybe I want to do it like so. And then maybe I want to bring it. I'm going to rotate it like just like. Yeah. Nice. Awesome. And then the actual thing to complete the word is essentially what's the word? And there's going to be a hint. So let's go ahead and maybe do this one first. So the hint here is this is the common word for the holy powder. So if I don't know, if you want to take a guess, Flynn? Common name. The holy powder. So at Holi, we use colored powders to celebrate, and we like put it on each other's faces and throw it on each other in terms with like water balloons. And so it has a ball.
Is it 2 letters or is it 1 letter?
It's one letter. Okay. It's a ball.
I want to put an A in there.
No, there's no A.
No.
Unfortunately, okay. There's no A. Take a guess. It's 2 letters. It's a ball and
is it an
it's
O?
1 letter. No.
Okay. You're just gonna have to put me out of my misery.
It's a U. It's a U.
It's a U. Okay.
We were close. It's okay.
Would have got it eventually.
It's Gulal. Yeah. All right. I do want to go ahead and maybe add a shape to this as well. So I'm gonna go ahead add a shape. Not that. We didn't want to add that. So we go to view all. I wanted to add this. Yeah. And I think maybe I want to rotate this as well. So the idea behind showing what all you can do is essentially that you can customize it to anything that you would like. Now, this is super colorful. And if you wanted to actually see how this looks, I'm going to try presenting and let me know, Flynn, if you can see this properly because I'm not sharing my whole screen.
Yep. That's coming up.
Perfect. Oh, cool. Yeah. So this is how it's going to look if I had no transitions. And this is what we've done so far. And I actually think this looks cool.
Yeah.
I do want to add like a thank you screen at the end, or maybe we can just like show a different version that I created earlier for this purpose. But I want to add, go ahead and look at my agenda here and what all I had to say here. While we do that, I actually want to showcase one more thing, that I can actually embed this link within this presentation. So I can click on are you ready and add a link here and click on the tick mark option, and this embeds this link. So when you share this as a PDF, when you download this as a PDF here, you can see that this will retain that link. And if I click on download, it'll retain that link. I click on Are you ready from Acrobat and open it up. It's going to open up this pop art page link. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
One of the other things, yeah, I don't know. I do not know if you've ever used that, but that would be useful for something like creating presentations for work, like a pitch deck. And then you wanted to integrate your own links in the deck. That would be one of the cool things. I'm gonna cancel that. Yes, cancel download. I am gonna add a transition here. What happened?
I think you might need to select into it again.
I don't know. I wanted to add transitions, but there we go.
Yeah, it like grayed out when you presented, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I do want to say that since this is a presentation and maybe you're pitching your idea to someone or it's a proposal to a client or a potential client, this button down here is presenter notes, and you can actually talk about what the page is about. So Holi trivia and talk about intro. This is not organized. I want bullet points. So if you wanted something like that, you can select all of this. And over here, you have some formatting options as well. So if you wanted to bold something, you could do that. There's italics and there's underline, but there's also bullet points. So I think that's super useful where you're talking about your notes. And this is not something that's visible when you're screen sharing. So if you're presenting, there's various options. You can present in presenter mode, and that's going to actually present with the notes, but they'll only be visible to you and not when you're screen sharing that window. So cool. That's pretty cool. I do want to go this because it opens up an audience window. So I can do full screen mode here, and then your notes are elsewhere, like on your actual page. I want to exit it out.
That's a pretty neat feature to come out.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then let's transition to transitions because I want to cover that really quickly as well. We have dissolve. So this is going to show me how that's, I thought it showed me how it looked, but it doesn't. That's interesting. Or
like a hover, when you hovered over it, it'd show you a
preview. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's present it and see what happens. So I selected dissolve, and this is what happened as opposed to what happens in the next one. Actually, let's go back. So this is the transition that we just added, which is dissolve. And then this was it earlier. And this is like too quick and it's too much in the face. So maybe we'll keep with dissolve. Now, instead of going manually to every page, so you have 30 slides in your deck, I did want to go ahead and click on apply to all pages. And I think it did it. Did it do it? I think it did it. Yeah, there we go. It did it now.
Did you have to have it selected on the page that you had the transition, or was it?
I think I had to select the first one and then add the transition. While we were presenting, I think it switched back and forth to none. And that's why it wasn't putting any transition. But that's it. And then we add, okay. So just a quick run through because we covered through a lot in the last second half because we were chatting so much in the first one. But we did how to create a presentation. We talked about libraries and library integration in Adobe Express. We also talked about templates in Adobe Express, which is great if you're working with Holi or any other festival that's particular to your region. I also want to talk about how you can use your own image to personalize your presentations or your pitch decks, not just in this scenario, but even if it's a pitch deck, you can use your headshot and use that and use a different gradient background as well. So that's pretty cool. You also learned how to create links in a PDF that you can download this presentation as well if you wanted to present it in on a Mac app or something similar, and you wanted to customize it even more or add a flair to it and illustrate it or something similar. We talked about that as well. What else did we talk about? Presenter mode. Yeah. Presenter mode. We talked about presenter mode. We talked about transitions and notes. So there's so much. I also want to say that you can download this as a PDF. You can also download PNGs and JPGs for this as well, no matter we created presentation project, but also PDF if you wanted to print it. So that's one of the cool things. You can also present from first page and you can select content playback from auto click, or the page switches after you click on things. And then there are some share options that you can explore in here as well, just like any other Adobe Express project, where you can create a view only link with other people that you only want them to view. You can create a template if you're creating and collaborating with someone in your organization, or if you're a creator and if you want to create a template for other people to use. You can also save it to Google Drive, which I think is pretty cool because now I have my Google Drive selected here, or sorry, connected here, and I can just upload it and then say, this is the thing that I want to add. And then I also can make a template. We talked about that. And you can also share it to social, which is always cool. Yeah, but with that said, I do want to bring up the actual project that I ended up making. Just to close the stream out, I do have it right here. And let's actually present it and see what everything looks like when you actually work on it for a while.
Cool. So this is the one. This is the pre one that you did. Okay.
The pre one, yeah. This has no transitions though. This is just very plain because I was just making the actual content. So this is my inspiration image that I took, and this doesn't have my face, but I thought it would be cool that I would.
Yours is a lot better. I prefer the Anika hands, hand binoculars. It's way better.
So that's like the first page, how to play, and then are you ready with some flair, and then we have some questions with some answers for like, what are the questions and what are the answers? And then now we're talking about more questions. And then we're using a stamp background with like multiple choice. We talked about this question and then the right answer. And so I think this is like a very fun way that you can do it. And then complete the word. And there's the answer, and then complete the word. Here's the hint. This white may not be working very well with the yellow, but I'm just looking at it now for the first time after I created it. So I can always go back and edit it, and then complete the word, and then answer. And thank you so much for playing.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to a close for presentations. We ran way over time today.
Yeah, we ran way over time, but it's so good. There's so much good stuff in there, and yeah, as you said, it kind of jumped from one feature to another. Bunch of things in there that I didn't know existed. So I hope some folks, watching also could notice some of those things. And I'm just noticing more and more how many features are in Adobe Express. It's kind of getting like, it's pretty amazing how many more use cases there are now than I think even like a year ago. When we were presenting, it was like, it seemed very much more focused on sort of social media side of things. As I said, I've been using it a lot more for like our Adobe Live branding libraries and things like that, and getting a lot of value out of building something in there that I can kind of reference and just access. So it's been great. And here's another use case, like doing a presentation or doing something fun, like a quiz. As I said, I've already done this as well, very similar sort of thing, and that was a lot of fun. Didn't look quite as nice as yours, but it worked and it was functional.
It actually did. You're just being modest. It actually did. Sure. I looked at it.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that, Anika. Too kind. But that does take us to time, so we don't go too long. Thank you so much, Anika, and I look forward to doing more Adobe Live Express kind of deep dives like this in the future with you.
Me as well. Thank you so much again for having me. And those of you all watching at home, happy Holi and be safe out there.
That's it. See everyone. Bye and see you next time.